My name is Jamar Buchanan, and this is the Highest and Best Man podcast. So in this episode, I want to talk about my career, some of the hurdles that I had to clear in it, and the things I got from those experiences. In some earlier episodes, I talked to you all about how, difficult it was for me early in my career when I didn't get the chance to play football professionally, even though that was a dream that I put a lot of time and effort into. And then graduating college and having difficulties finding a job working as an engineer after that. And, the life lessons didn't stop there. In 2018, I had what I call one of the best worst things happen to me. And I say best worst because by best worst, I mean, it at the time seemed like it was a really bad thing and the worst thing that could happen. But in the end, ultimately, it was like the best thing that could happen. So it was like the best worst thing. And for me, in 2018, that was when I got fired. That's right. After spending all that time, effort, and energy climbing that corporate ladder, your boy got fired like Craig on Friday. And no, I was not stealing boxes. But let me give you some context. So after I got my MBA, I started working in a role that I loved. I did great at it. I enjoyed it. And I still do a lot of that work today, freelance. After that role, I got promoted into another role, which not as good of a fit. I didn't like it as much, but it was still a pretty good role. So nothing really bad there. And then I got another role after that to say this wasn't a good fit is a stretch. It was really bad. Have you ever worked a job where you felt anxiety halfway through Sunday because in less than 24 hours you're gonna have to show up for that job again, right? Like it was one of those for me. It was lightweight, soul crushing, right? And I thought that it was the type of thing where the ends would justify the means, and eventually, I would move up, I would be a VP, and then maybe president or CEO, and so I then would be happy. I don't know, but I wasn't happy then. So it was a big compromise that I was making. I had a moment where I remembered something that I'd forgotten, and that something was me. And in remembering that, I had a moment of clarity when I was driving to work one day in traffic. And it sounded like I'm not the person that I said I wanted to be when I was a kid. And I wasn't doing the things that I wanted to do. I wasn't having the impact or effect that I wanted. And I remember when I was younger, I would be up at night sometimes. You watch ads and you see these commercials where they say something like, for 50 cents a day, you can prevent starving kids or cure this for $1. And it was very much something that I was like, well, if this is the case, like, why don't the adults just fix this? Why don't the adults do something about this or that? And I realized in that moment when I was going to work, like, I am those adults now, and I am not doing those things. I'm not having that effect. I'm just doing me. And just like when I was a kid, those adults were doing them, right? And I'm not gonna knock anybody's hustle, but that wasn't what I set out to be in this world. It wasn't what I wanted to be when I was younger. I wanted to do and change things and make something better than just like me. And I realized that wasn't happening. And there I was, sort of believing that I needed to do a job that honestly I didn't want to do. And I realized turning into the parking lot one early morning, like hella early, that someone else's car is usually there on these early mornings when I get there, and that's the president of the company. And I thought about it, and I realized after years of making these trade-offs and compromises and spending decades climbing this ladder, what I ultimately get is here earlier, because that'll be me parked there as the president. And I was like, so I'm gonna sacrifice all that time and put in all this work to get that? Like, this is what I would earn? And that also wasn't what I wanted. And I thought about it, and there's a Frederick Dawson quote that really captures, one of the lessons that I learned from this, really well. And it is, if you don't find joy on the path, you won't find it at the goal. And that's true, right? If I would have spent another 20, 30 years making it there, it would have dawned on me one day in the office at, 0 o'clock in the morning, while my family is somewhere else, that I put all the work and effort into being here. And this is ultimately not what I really, truly want. And I was glad to see that at the time. So that's the context. Let's fast forward. So after I'm let go, I have this internal response that you might expect, right? Like there's this self-doubt, right? I have fear. I gotta get another job ASAP. And fortunately for me, I didn't follow those paths. I didn't take that action, right? I stopped, I sat, and I gave myself some time. And with that time and space, I was able to see what really happened. They didn't fire me. I fired myself because that was what my soul needed. And I was able to realize, how out of alignment that role and that job was with me and my purpose. It just fundamentally wasn't for me. What actually happened was that I checked out. And so I realized they didn't fire me because I quit a long time ago. I was so checked out and removed from it that, I was showing up in person, but nothing else was. And I also realized another thing that, there is no mountain without a valley. And I could use this experience in this low point in this valley and go any direction I wanted with it. If I wanted to, I can keep going down. If I wanted to, I could stay in this area and just go in different directions and meander, or I could rise from it. I can go up. I went up with it. In the next year, I was free of all of that. I traveled. I was able to spend 3 months living outside of the US, which was a goal that I had set for myself. I started a business. And I launched what ultimately became Highest and Best Man. And for me, taking the time to positively impact the Black diaspora, to help Black men live lives of purpose, to do things that feed me and my soul is much more in alignment with the person that I wanted to be when I was a kid. And is a mountain that was well worth the valley that I had to travel through to get there. And so when I look back at it, the moments of doubt and worry that I got out of an experience that truly wasn't in alignment and for me was well worth it. I am glad I got fired from that job, because if I would have continued to just mindlessly check out and show up in that parking lot each Monday after dreading it for half of a Sunday for 20 more years, I'm not sure what person I would become. And I'm not sure that I affect or change anyone's life meaningfully. With this, I may. With this, I'm at least a lot happier with what I'm doing. I feel a sense of resonance with it. And I get excited about tuning in and going live or recording something. I get excited about creating and writing something that may move someone in a way that is profound. I wasn't doing that in that last row. I wasn't even moved by that. I dreaded it. It was, I don't even want to think about it right now. So I say all that to say, whatever it is you do, and I'm not against working, corporate jobs or anything like that. I'm just saying, make sure that what it is you're doing, you pour yourself into and you love it. Don't sacrifice yourself and your life for a job or a company that you don't have to. You have options, you have choices in this world. It may seem difficult and like you don't. And take it from someone who didn't feel like he always had a lot of options and choices that you do. I struggled getting a job out of college. I doubted myself in my ability to get another one once I got that job. That's just scarcity and fear. And it seems like it's the case for you. It may be a very different thing, but you got it. You can do so much more. And life is precious. You hear people talk about it all the time. Don't chase money. Do what you want to do. And we sort of dismiss it as, but I need the money. And, you're going to have the money and you're going to be miserable with it, and it doesn't serve. So that's my experience. That was my lesson that I learned. If you don't enjoy the path, you're not going to enjoy the goal when you get there. All right. So thank you for tuning in and checking this out. Hopefully there's something in this that you can use and you find valuable. Don't forget to follow, like, subscribe, do all that good fancy stuff. Take care. Peace.